top 5 books that have shaped my worldview and that have transformed my life. That is a very hard one, I think. As you would imagine, I have read quite a dozen of books. I remember, especially during the COVID period, I was inspired by Dr. Strive Masiyiwa, who said in one of his posts that he was reading 7 books a week, so probably a book a day. So I was inspired by that, and during that COVID period, I issued that as a challenge to myself to read a couple of books. I was actually aiming on reading 7 books a week, though I wasn't meeting the standard that I had set for myself, but I could read like 4 books or 5 books in 7 weeks. So yeah, all to say, I've read quite a number of books. I haven't read as many as I would want to, but I've read quite a number. And putting together a list of my top 5 books is really hard because of the number of books that I have in mind right now. But anyway, if I were to have a top 5 criteria of the books that I've read that have transformed my life, I think I'm going to put it in a hierarchy of sort, but I'm going to start from 5 to 1. Yeah, let's do it like that. So I think on number 5, the book that I am quickest to recommend to anybody if they come to me to ask for a book recommendation is probably The Alchemist. I'm pretty sure you would have guessed. Yeah, but yeah, The Alchemist would make my number 5. The Alchemist is basically, spoilers alert for anyone who hasn't read the book and is gonna read it afterwards, but The Alchemist is basically a story of a code to the unknown, right? And I think the author does a brilliant job in displaying the different stages in human life, how the hero being called to the unknown goes from different stages in his walk, and he learns, and then eventually he comes back round that whole route to where he had initially started from. And The Alchemist has a proper depiction of the hero's journey in its own format as well. And I think it's really an amazing piece of literature, and definitely if there would be a book, and has been a book that I am really quick to recommend, is definitely The Alchemist. So yeah, number 5 would definitely be The Alchemist. On number 4, tough one, because the number 4 one is sort of similar to The Alchemist, though different in presentation. But on number 4, I would have to go with 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. An amazing piece of work. Jordan Peterson is probably one of the most formidable intellectuals in our time, right? And I think what he does with 12 Rules for Life is just extremely brilliant. And the advice that he is giving is sort of similar to what you get from The Alchemist, though, like I was saying, the presentation is just different. So he outlays 12 rules that he recommends people should be living by, so as a standard of sorts. So 12 Rules for Life is also a brilliant book. So yeah, my hierarchy would be The Alchemist on 5, 12 Rules for Life on 4, and on number 3, well, being someone who's in finance and a huge admirer of money, I think on number 3, let's put something that involves money, or rather economics. I think on number 3, I would go with The Art of Getting Money by P.T. Barnum. I like the book because, well, first of all, it's old. I like old things. I like old authors in literature. And what P.T. Barnum does with the book is also immensely interesting. So I think what I find extremely fascinating with the book is how everything is presented in a very counterintuitive sense. So you don't get what you thought you would expect, right? I would give one particular example that you get from the book is his presentation on saving money. That is, it blows your mind, you know. It's like, okay, I wasn't expecting to find this, but it's what you get from him. So P.T. Barnum goes against the status quo and makes his presentation entirely different from the norm. So yeah, on number 3, I would definitely go with that book, and a huge recommendation for anyone who is interested in economics. It's a good read. I think why I liked it as well is because it's weaved in stories and illustrations and symbolisms and literal devices. So give me that, and I think I'm going to enjoy your work. On number 2. Number 2 is a bit tough because I have 2 books. Luckily, they are from the same author, but I have 2 books in mind. But of the 2, I think I would go with Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I just love Screwtape Letters. I don't know, I've read it countless number of times. It's a brilliant and scary book, you know. It's scary because it involves demons, right? So basically the book is a story of an older demon, a mentor who's teaching or mentoring a younger demon, right? So it's an exchange of letters, and the older demon is advising the younger demon on how he can be tormenting his client, called in the book. So yeah, it's an amazing book, you know, and part of why I related with it a lot was because midway in reading the book, you pose and ask yourself certain questions, really important questions, and you observe certain things that have been happening in your life and say, could it be that there are some paranormal activities going on behind my life because of the outcomes that I'm having right now in comparison to what you're getting from the book? So yeah, C.S. Lewis also happens to be one of my favorite authors, so hence him making it to number 2. And on number 1, I think this one was probably expected, drum roll, and the Bible. Yeah, the Bible is definitely on number 1 for me, and it's not precisely because I'm a Christian. You know, I know a lot of people probably have that notion. Well, yeah, Edgar, you're a Christian, it was expected the Bible is number 1. Well, at some point it used to be like that I would have chosen the Bible to be number 1 because I'm a Christian. Not so now, because of the exposure that I've had reading different ideas and philosophies. I think it's helped to shape my worldview and approach the Bible entirely differently. I don't read the Bible just because I'm religious or I'm trying to be religious. I read the Bible as a religious book for sure, but I also read it as a historical book, as a philosophical book, as a book that guides me through the path of life, because I believe in the existence of God, and if I believe in the existence of God, and this God left a manuscript for my life, or for the life of humanity, I think it would be a dire mistake for us as humans to disregard that entirely. And also, the Bible is one book, as Ravi Zacharias rightly noted, that reads you more than you read it. It reads me more than I read it. It exposes certain things to you, stuff that you thought were there, stuff that you didn't know about yourself, stuff that are good and bad, and those things are extremely important for us to know. And I find the characters in the Bible and the stories, the way they are interwoven together, extremely fascinating as well. And I enjoy reading the Bible away from just the notion that reading it from the notion that I'm a Christian, but I learn from the Bible extremely well, and I would make a recommendation even for someone who's atheist or someone who's not a Christian to read the Bible. You know, there is a God who created you, and he left a blueprint for you. You know, you don't want to miss out on that. So yeah, definitely those would be my top 5 books. Yeah, ciao.